My affair partner found my husband's secret on a Thursday afternoon. He called me at work. His voice sounded different. Not angry, not nervous, afraid. "I found something," he said. "What?" "Something about your husband." I laughed. What could you possibly find out about Daniel? He was quiet. Then he said, "I think you need to sit down." I did. And what he told me next completely changed the way I saw my husband. My name is Sarah. My husband's name is Daniel. And the man I'd been having an affair with was Nathan. For nearly a year, I had convinced myself that Nathan knew everything about me. I thought I knew everything about him. I was wrong. And somehow the person who discovered the truth wasn't my husband. It was my affair partner. Daniel and I had been married for 10 years. We met when we were 25. He was quiet, thoughtful, and incredibly private. I used to find his privacy mysterious. Eventually, I found it frustrating. Daniel didn't talk about his feelings much. He preferred solving problems to discussing them. If something broke, he fixed it. If someone needed help, he showed up. If I was upset, he'd ask what he could do. But sometimes I didn't want a solution. I wanted emotion. I wanted excitement. I wanted someone to look at me and make me feel like the most interesting woman in the world. Nathan did that. He worked in the same building as me. He was outgoing, funny, he could talk to anyone. He remembered every little detail I told him. At first, it was harmless. Lunch together. Messages after work. Occasional drinks. Then the messages became personal. Then secretive. Then impossible to justify. The first time Nathan kissed me, I knew I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. The affair lasted 11 months. During those 11 months, I became an expert liar. I had excuses for everything. Late meetings, work trips, happy hours, phone calls. Daniel rarely questioned me. That made it easier. Or so I thought. Nathan hated that Daniel wasn't suspicious. "Doesn't he ever wonder where you are?" "He's busy." "Doesn't he ever check your phone?" "No." Nathan would laugh. "He's either incredibly trusting or incredibly stupid." I defended Daniel. "He's not stupid." Nathan smiled. "Then maybe he's just not paying attention." I didn't know how wrong he was. One evening, Daniel came home carrying a small envelope. He put it on the counter. "What's that?" I asked. "Nothing." He walked away. I wanted to look, but I didn't. 2 weeks later, Nathan found out about it. Not because I told him. He saw Daniel at a restaurant. Nathan had gone there for dinner with a coworker. Daniel was sitting alone at a table near the window. And across from him was a man Nathan didn't recognize. Nathan took a photograph. Then he called me. "I saw your husband." "Okay." "He was meeting someone." "Who?" "I don't know." I laughed. "Maybe a friend." Nathan didn't laugh. "There was an envelope." My stomach tightened. "What kind of envelope?" "I don't know." He sent me the photograph. Daniel was sitting at the table. The envelope was beside his hand. I stared at it. Something about the photograph bothered me. "Why are you taking pictures of my husband?" Nathan ignored the question. "There's something going on." "You're being paranoid." "Maybe." Then he said, "But I think your husband has a secret." I didn't believe him. Not at first. Then Daniel started acting differently. He began taking phone calls outside. He locked his office door. He started leaving the house earlier. And one night, he came home with a bruise on his hand. "What happened?" "Nothing." "Daniel." He smiled. "I'm fine." I wanted to ask again, but I didn't, because I was hiding something too. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was angry at my husband for having secrets while I was keeping the biggest secret of all. Nathan became obsessed. He started looking into Daniel. I told him to stop. You're going to get yourself into trouble. I just want to know what's happening. Why? He looked at me. Because I don't trust him. You don't have to trust him. You should. I ignored him. Then came Thursday. Nathan called me from his car. I found something. What? Your husband's secret. My heart started racing. How? I followed him. I was furious. You followed my husband? Yes. Why? Because I needed to know. Know what? Who he was meeting. I waited. Nathan took a breath. Sarah. Your husband has been meeting someone every Thursday. Who? Your father. I froze. My father had died 3 years earlier. What? Nathan was silent. That's impossible. I know. Then who was he meeting? Nathan said, your father's brother. My Uncle Michael. I hadn't spoken to Michael in years. After my father died, we'd had a terrible argument over my father's estate. We hadn't spoken since. Why would Daniel be meeting him? Nathan said, I don't know. Did you see what they were doing? They were exchanging documents. What documents? I don't know. Then Nathan said, I found something else. What? He wasn't just meeting your uncle. Your husband has been paying him. I couldn't breathe. How much? Nathan told me the amount. It was almost $50,000. I drove home immediately. Daniel wasn't there. I searched his office. I knew I shouldn't. But I was desperate. Inside his desk, I found the envelope. My hands were shaking. I opened it. Inside were copies of legal documents. I recognized my father's name, and then I saw mine. My father had left me something. Something I hadn't known existed. A property, a small business, and a trust. But there was a problem. The documents showed that my father had suspected someone in our family was trying to take control of the assets. And Daniel had discovered it. He'd been investigating quietly. For 3 years, my husband hadn't been hiding money from me. He had been protecting money that belonged to me. The payments to my uncle weren't bribes. They were payments made as part of a legal agreement. Daniel had discovered that my uncle had been attempting to sell part of my father's property without my knowledge. Daniel had hired a lawyer. He'd paid the legal fees. He'd spent years trying to protect my inheritance. And I had never known. Then I found the last document. A letter. It was from Daniel. It had never been sent. It said, Sarah deserves to know the truth someday. But until I can protect what her father left her, I don't want to put her through another fight. I sat on the floor and started crying. My affair partner had spent weeks trying to prove my husband was hiding something. He was right. Daniel was hiding something. But it wasn't what we thought. He wasn't betraying me. He was protecting me. I felt sick. Because while my husband had spent 3 years protecting something my father had left me, I had spent 11 months betraying him. That night, Daniel came home. He saw me sitting at the kitchen table. The documents were in front of me. He stopped. You found them. I nodded. Why didn't you tell me? He sat down. Because your uncle threatened to destroy everything. What? He said if I told you, he'd challenge the trust. Why? Because your father had written the trust specifically to protect you. Daniel looked exhausted. I didn't want you dragged into another family fight. I started crying. How long have you known? 3 years. 3 years? He nodded. Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me? Daniel looked at me. I trusted you. That's why I didn't tell you. I didn't understand. He continued, "You had already lost your father. I didn't want to make you lose the rest of your family, too." I couldn't speak. Then he asked, "Why are you crying?" I looked at him. Because suddenly, I wanted to tell him everything. Nathan, the affair, the lies, everything. Daniel. He looked at me. "I'm having an affair." The room went silent. He closed his eyes. For a few seconds, he didn't move. Then he asked, "With Nathan?" I froze. "You know his name?" Daniel looked at me. "I've known about him for months." My heart stopped. "What?" I knew. "How?" He looked toward the documents. "I know how to investigate things." I started sobbing. "You knew?" "Yes." "Why didn't you confront me?" He looked down. "Because I wanted to finish protecting you first." That destroyed me. Even after discovering that I was betraying him, he had continued protecting me. Nathan eventually found out the truth, too. He called me. "I didn't know." "I know. I thought your husband was hiding something terrible." "He was." Nathan was silent. "Just not what we thought." "No?" Then Nathan said, "I think I owe him an apology." I told him he didn't need to, but he disagreed. He met Daniel. I wasn't there. Later, Daniel told me what happened. Nathan apologized. Daniel accepted. Then Nathan asked him one question. "Why didn't you expose us?" Daniel answered, "Because I wasn't trying to punish her. I was trying to protect her." Nathan asked, "Even after what she did?" Daniel looked at him. "She's still my wife." Nathan didn't know what to say. Neither did I. Daniel and I separated. There was no instant forgiveness. There couldn't be. I had betrayed him. But something changed. For the first time, I stopped looking for someone else to blame. I couldn't blame Nathan. I couldn't blame Daniel. I couldn't blame boredom. I had made the choice, and I had to live with it. I spent months trying to rebuild my life. I went to therapy. I repaired my relationship with my uncle. Eventually, the legal situation with my father's estate was resolved, and I finally understood something. Daniel had been protecting me from a problem I didn't even know existed, while I had been creating a problem he never deserved. A year later, Daniel and I met for coffee. He looked different. Calmer. "I still love you," I told him. He nodded. "I know." "Do you love me?" He looked down. "Yes. But I don't know if love is enough." I nodded. "I understand." We didn't get back together immediately. We started talking. Slowly. Eventually, we decided to try again. Not because the affair hadn't happened, because we'd both learned that marriage couldn't survive on silence. Daniel had kept a secret because he thought he was protecting me. I'd kept a secret because I was protecting myself. Those two secrets couldn't have been more different. My affair partner found my husband's secret. He thought he'd uncovered proof that Daniel was betraying me. Instead, he uncovered proof that my husband had been protecting me all along. And the most painful part wasn't discovering what Daniel had hidden. It was realizing what I had hidden. My husband had spent 3 years protecting my future. I had spent 11 months destroying his trust. Sometimes the secret you discover isn't the one that changes your life. Sometimes it's the secret you realize you've been keeping from yourself.